Okay, so today I also want to show you how to do a hand-formed or shaped felt hood. So I showed you how to stretch it over a hat block that already has a shape. This time I'm going to stretch it over a wooden head and try to create some creases and some interesting shapes within the felt just by hand. Okay, so I have my felt hood. I'm steaming it right here, and I'm going to start by stretching it over the head, and I want to try and make sure that I'm stretching evenly down on this hood. So I have to keep moving it in a circle. And the top here, you can see it has a little point, so I want to make sure, let's get the steamer closer, I want to make sure I get that totally flat. Okay, so just by putting a little steam on top and pulling, I can get that to be pretty smooth in the shape of a head. So what I'm making is basically like a cloche, right? So like a 1920s hat. And I want to, once I get kind of this head shape on top, I want to work on this extra fabric down below and see if I can't get some creases in it. So I need to make sure that material is also soft. And it'll probably take a little work to get some steam into the fiber. But see, I can already start to make some. Let's see if I can show you better. It's hard to see in this lighting. There. So I can start to kind of put some creases into the hat. And this just by folding the material by hand, adding steam, and then you can make like a little brim, and I can always change, I could trim this down, so I might fold it up at first, but then when I'm finished with this, I might trim that piece down so it disappears. Okay, so I'm going to keep going, work on this end. Okay, so I don't know, I'm kind of free-forming it, so as I go, I'm kind of determining what I want the hat to look like. I like these. I have two creases here, and I'm working around the back of the head now. And because it's a cloche, it should come down to the base of the skull, right? So right now it's high in the front, and it kind of goes outward. I want it to come inward. So I'm going to keep with the steam, I'm going to keep putting it on the back and see if I can't stretch it a little more. And then I'll try to shape it or cut away some of the fabric while I'm working, so you can see how the hat can take shape, like some of the interesting designs that can happen as you're working. Oops. Okay. So I'm not really using push pins. If I feel like I need to hold this down, I could add some twill tape and push pins, which actually might be a good idea right here. And this will help to hold this first top crease kind of in place. I don't want to add too many because they do leave marks. Okay, so that's kind of across. You can see the front of the hat. This first crease that I got is nice. I like that shape. It kind of comes from the front, you can see, and wraps around the head. Okay, and then I want the second one See if this will stay. Probably not. Okay. And the second one, which is right under, like I said, I don't know if you can see that. It's right under it. I'll push up against my tool tape so you don't see it anymore, right? Let's get that crease back in there. And it's doing some funky things back here, which happens. Maybe I'll put this on the table, so. There. And let's make you see it that way. Okay, so that's more stable for me to pull. Okay, and I'm gonna just add a little more steam overall. And I can hide some of these push pin marks with decoration for the hat. So I'm not too terribly worried about it right now. Okay. Okay, so that's, okay, this side. Interesting. Maybe this comes up on the side. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so the back here, I just applied a little steam and I kind of have to hand shape it to get into a shape that I like. So I'm just pulling straight down, and as it dries and cools, it holds that shape. Okay, so it's got a slope. I definitely am going to trim this away, but I want the overall shape to be kind of attractive, okay? So I have also this brim that kind of curls upward here. And what I'm gonna do is, let's turn off the steamer. I'm going to actually bravely cut into part of this hat. So I like the idea that it comes down in the front, but I'm going to cut away part of this. I think I want to make it into like a point. And the edge that comes with the hat itself is usually wobbly, so you have to trim away the edge and make a nicer, cleaner edge. So I know it's hard to see what I'm doing, but what I want to do is trim up this edge here. So I'm going to come in, let's say from here, and you want to make a nice smooth line that doesn't have any like scissor marks. So I drag my scissors across the edge here as I'm cutting. Okay, so I have a better edge, I think, and I can trim that up. And I cut this away, okay? So I cut this piece away, which seems a little odd, but I can use this and fold it up and create something interesting on this side. Okay, so I like kind of this shape. And I can also take part of this back piece and use it up there as well. So let's just get some more steam. I'm gonna get more steam on this little mini brim that I created. Okay, so I have this weird flap piece, but it kind of looks like a leaf. So I'm gonna use it as part of my decoration to the hat. And if I steam it and let it dry, it'll hold that shape. So I can kind of shape it into a leaf. So it takes some real finagling to really get to where you want. And I keep stopping and trying to figure out what it is I want. But I think it's getting there. So all I have to do is really continue to shape it and let it dry. And I can always finesse a little later. But for now, I'm just gonna keep playing and shaping and moving things around. So, okay. So this part actually it opened up because I like the idea that it kind of came down. And sometimes you don't know that till you start playing a little more. Okay, so I know it's super hard to see, but when it's done, I think you get the sense. So it's starting to feel a little more like a cloche. I think I have to still figure out this side and this back. So this I could pull up like that, and that would help to make more of that cloche shape back here, which is, it also fixes this problem. So I kind of like that, and then it gives it a nice little fold and tuck here. Okay, so maybe I'll just crease that in with a little steam. So I'm just holding it in place and applying steam to it. So I'm gonna put, I think, a push pin right here to hold that, so I don't have to keep holding it. And I put the twill tape so that the push pin doesn't make a mark on it, and I can kind of lean and let it do that. And I want this shape to follow more along the head, which that little fold kind of helped with that shape. And I can work with it while it's still wet. So just giving it a little bit of a brim in the back as well. And you just gently kind of shape it with your hands. You want to make sure you don't have any awkward little divots or parts that don't look smooth. So I try to stretch and smooth as I go. Okay, so it's getting better. It's starting to look more like a hat. It's starting to look like a cute hat. Okay. And I can put a little extra decoration on this side to hide anything I don't like. And I think I'll trim a little bit of this away so it's not quite as large. So literally it's hard to show you, but here, I'll go this way. I'm just gonna continue this curve and work my way till it looks more natural. Okay, so that's a little more natural. It sticks out a little funny, but we're gonna call it more, it's artistic. Okay, and so I'm just gonna let it sit here and cool, and once it's cool to the touch and no longer wet, I'll take it off, and this edge may get a wire, and then you can decorate it. So we're kind of at the finishing stages for this hat. Just basically letting it cool, and it'll hold all these shapes that we've created. So there you go. This felt hood that I shaped by hand is now dry and cool. So I'm just going to take out the push pins that I have. I just have this one, I think, and I'm going to take out the twill tape, which was holding it together. Oh, I have another pin. Doesn't want to come out. And I think what I'm going to do, because this seems to be holding its shape nicely, I'm going to carefully take it off without stretching it. Okay. So this hat has held its shape really nicely. See all the pleats that I put in? the brim is holding up well. I don't think I'm gonna actually wire it because it looks nice and kind of organic the way it is. So I think all I wanna do is really tack this fold where I've placed it and tack this kind of leaf shape as well. So I'll do both of those by hand and then add a little decoration. And I think it's really ready to be a hat. I might just clean up the edge where I cut it and see what it looks like. Cute, cute. And then it'll be done. So really, just a couple more finishing details on this hat, and that's really all you have to do. So to tack this leaf piece that I have, you can see I don't know if you can see that. There's like a little push pin mark right there. So I'm gonna come from inside of the hat with my needle. And I'm using black thread here. I'm gonna just carefully do a couple small little tacks. Let's see if I can get some light over here so you can see a little better. And I'm gonna basically do it in the same spot, in and out, just to make it secure. And if you do small tacks in the same place, you won't see it. And like you could put a little button over here on top of the stitching or a little flower. And so for each tack you do, you want to finish it off with a knot. So I grab a little bit of the felt. I have the loop of my thread and I'm gonna put my needle through the loop and pull. And do that again. Grab a little felt, take your loop, put the needle through the loop and pull. Okay, and then I can cut that and start another spot to tack. So I want to tack this fold here because it would easily come undone. It's not going to stay. So I'm going to retie a knot in my thread. And then I think this one you could almost stitch across this line. I want to find something to hide it, and I think actually I do have some ribbon that I might use to cover this area here. So let's see, I'm gonna tack it still. I'm gonna tack it first across this line, start from the inside, and I'm gonna do like a whip stitch. So that's gonna whip around that edge and tack it to the hat. Okay, so I'm coming out here. I'm gonna go across this way. So just go around the edge and onto the piece of the hat. And I'm just gonna follow that line. And then I'm gonna go across this piece as well. So I followed this, and then I'm gonna finish it so that that head size stays the same. And then take the knot into the inside of the hat. So I'm gonna push it down through all the fabric, and then flip it on the inside and do my knot. So I'm gonna do a little tack, grab a little bit of felt, and then with the loop of your thread, put the needle through the loop and pull, and then do one more time. This is Petersham, and I'm gonna use this just across the back. So this is the front, right? And here's the little leaf, and I'm gonna have it start here and go around to this other fold and stop. So I'm just gonna tuck this end underneath the leaf, and I'll stitch it and tack it in place there and have it follow to the other crease. And since I'm having it come into this other crease, I think I need to tack this fold down so it doesn't come undone.